driven it. Uh, for obvious reasons, I wonder if maybe Reagan Hertz or Dolan can post times comparable to the earlier match this week, just from, pure additional training.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah, yeah.
there is a reasonable chance they would be able to do that, something along those lines. So
All right.
obviously, as in previous weeks, this is a multi-stream. You can pick up additional coverage of some players on my channel, and thanks to Rayma's constant shoutouts and obviously your patronage, you can actually subscribe to me now. So
Let's
you
go.
can have Deft emotes. Pretty sick.
Subscribes. Very nice.
So thank you all for tuning in. Uh, Getting this done for me. I really appreciate everyone that tuned into the BFNL because casting it has been just as much fun or even more fun than driving it on occasion. On to then the real deal as the players have started, and we
Yeah.
see actually Reagan Hertz only in 6th place and Gigasan and Noff leading from Dolan
All
in what I
right.
would consider a very interesting twist of events in the ranking that I didn't really see coming. I would have expected Reagan Hertz, especially with her Daddy time, to kind of march on ahead because her performance in Division 2 2 weeks consecutively has been nothing short of amazing and has just been, I think, comprehensively stronger than any other Division 2 player. So I would sort of expect her to be the strongest player on the server tonight, but obviously yet to be seen how it's going to work out. Right now, 3rd place behind Tsunami and Gigason, and with a perhaps unexpected duo leading, but
Yeah.
wonderful all the same.
Interesting to see indeed, but the map, of course, very long. So players are forming some gaps between themselves right now. We see Eddie, for example, already on almost a minute, I think, and it feels
Yeah,
like we just started. So
I am not entirely confident as it was last time that all the players have actually played this map through the completion. And obviously driving it purely based on visual cues is not really tenable if you're trying to drive it at a pace that I would consider competitive in any division of BFNL.
hmm,
So it is to be expected perhaps that some players will be falling further behind, especially I think it is mostly Division 4 and 5 players that we've lost along the way,
yeah,
which I believe is sort of to be expected because a lot of ex-Division 2 players or active Division 2 players are actually in here right now competing, so, you know, to be seen what's going to happen. At the moment, actually, Gigasun and Tsunami maintaining the lead, but Regenhertz within striking distance and capable of overtaking them with a single mistake. Dolan in 4th place, however, he is 1.5 seconds behind a leading trio, Noff in 5th place. Race with a, I think, very respectable 6th place, 4.2 seconds away, is not that bad for him at all,
nice.
considering the level of competition on the server right now. That being said, he is falling further and further behind. Regenhertz now reduces her pace, while Dolan increases his pace, and now Regenhertz also sliding out. This gives Dolan a chance to make up perhaps some of the lead, except it seems that he also slid out.
Yeah,
Noff
not.
seizing 4th position for him, and now things have sort of fallen into a couple of groups. It is now Noff and Dolan that are catching up to Regenhertz, and she is now a second and a half behind Tsunami and Gigasan. It is Tsunami actually now attempting to contend for the lead potentially, looking to complete the overtake on Gigasan and go into the lead.
There we
Very impressive
go.
for him. He does complete it.
Very
Very
nice.
well done from Tsunami indeed. However, Gigasan not to be beaten easily. He will regain the lead. The pace, however, despite the additional training time that these players might have had, is actually not looking particularly competitive.
Ooh,
Now Gigasan with a severe mistake that will drop him several positions. Actually, not several positions. Only now Regenhertz is actually making her way to him, but sliding out after the landing. Or due to a land bug or her own negligence, she will not be able to seize the position and has to settle for 3rd, which I don't think. And also losing a lot of
oh,
speed now, so going all the way down to 5th place, and Dolan and Off both complete an overtake. She is safe from further overtakes, but
yeah, a little.
perhaps a bit disappointing from such dominant Division 2 performances. Although, needs to be said, this map is a bit of an anomaly, so it is entirely possible for players to lose their concentration midway through the lap. As we are now approaching the 5-minute mark, it is Tsunami with a second advantage over Gigasan, looking quite stable. Very well done from him indeed. Maybe the pace is not there, but the consistency has been nothing short of spectacular. Dolan in third place, however, he is still about a second and a half behind second and 2.5 behind first place. Knopf in close pursuit, and Reagan Hurts about a second behind him. Eka Race maintaining his sixth position. Very respectable performance once again from him. Corbo beyond the 10-second mark already, and the rest of the players, I feel, almost lost to time. 15 seconds and more, with still one full lap left to go and portions of this lap yet to be completed. So entirely possible that they will have to take advantage of all the finishing time allotted. Quite a bit left on this map. I think it is about 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah,
For players
something
to
about
finish, and
that.
some of them
Yeah.
may require it, as Reagan Hurts again, small slide out, whether it is due to nerves or something else, not really able to begin mounting the comeback, and another slide out actually, so a couple of mistakes actually happening in the span of a single lap will mean that she has now comprehensively fallen behind, but because she has, others haven't. Gigasun now with a severe mistake that will drop him multiple positions, I think. He has now been overtaken by Noff and Dolan out of a boat, now eaten severely into Tsunami's lead as well, so very, very
Ah,
good contention for the top 4 positions. However, Tsunami retaining it, and a land bug will drop Gigasun slightly further behind. Reagan Hurts in no position to capitalize, and she's now more than 3 seconds behind. It is now Noff, Dolan, and Tsunami contending for first place with Tsunami. Oh no, Dolan! Oh,
Dolan!
that's actually... No, that's a good
What is
jump. He
that?
actually shortcut it. He actually
Holy
effectively
shit.
shortcut it. Yeah. It's
It
looking good,
seemed
it's
like
looking
he
good.
was flying to, I don't know.
That being said, it actually lost him
Wow.
speed, whether due to a land bug or some other reason, so he's actually now dropped pace with this cheeky little shortcut he has discovered, and it is now Tsunami and Nov contending for first place, Dola now falling more than a second behind.
Wow.
The gamble did not pay off, as we
Not
are
pay
approaching
off.
the end of lap number 1.
Oh,
Now
not.
Nov, with a small mistake, this will allow Dolan to reclaim second position, but it is Tsunami now into the lead. Spoff retiring, perhaps feeling unable or unwilling to complete this map, see it through, as he was quite far behind. Not perhaps in last place, but close to last, and Tsunami is now approaching the final corners of the lap, maintaining his advantage, doing very well for himself in his first lap, and setting, I believe, a fairly competitive pace, at least for his own standards. I am a bit
Yeah.
disappointed, perhaps, with the pace of Dolan and Reagan Hertz, as this doesn't seem to be anywhere close to Division 1 pace.
Oh, they
By
are
any margin.
very far behind indeed.
It is 7:33 for the first lap, which is respectable, but I think nothing to particularly write home about. Dolan now about 0.2 of a second behind Tsunami, heading into lap 2. They will be contending for the lead. Gigasan, despite several mistakes, only 1 second behind. Noff has fallen to 3 seconds behind, and Reagan Hurts, the comeback not coming true, falls back to almost 5 seconds behind. It is now Corbo in 6th place, 9 seconds behind. It might even start eating into Reagan Hurts' lead. Top 6, I believe, would not be a position Reagan Hurts would be happy with, considering the lesser amount of points at the player's disposal tonight. As a reminder, obviously, since this is considered the Division 3, 4, and 5 meet, the amount of points at the disposal of the players is not the same. So whereas 6th position in Division 1 might have been, looking good for Reagan Hurts, 6th position here would be nowhere near as rewarding. As we speak about that, Dolan and Tsunami still fighting for first place.
Yeah,
Tsunami takes
nice
a wider
fight.
line and benefits from more speed. He's going to build up a lot of speed and build up about half a second the advantage, actually 0.4 of a second. But he drops it the very next corner with a bit of a suboptimal line coming from the jump, and Dolan into the lead of the race. At the
Nice.
9-minute mark, with about 5 minutes to go, then he takes the lead. Gigasan, 1.5 seconds away, not 3 seconds away. Reagan Hurts just under 5 seconds away. Eka Race with a very respectable race, with about 14 seconds at disadvantage. Just slow, but very consistent, and managing to maintain a seventh place, which I feel is quite a decent result considering his lack of pace.
Behind,
Gigasan now falling further behind, and
yeah.
Tsunami as well. Don't feel like he's going to be able to keep up for long, as Dolan is now sort of starting to open up a comprehensive pace advantage, I feel, over the German player.
Looking good from Dolan indeed. He's pushing away now almost to 1 second.
And Dolan is now... This is a proper Division 1 lap that he is producing right now.
Yeah, he's looking very good. Not too far behind top 1, actually. Only 1 second behind, of course, Dopa. So looking good. Let's see how long he can keep it up. Still very long part of the map still ahead of him. And Tsunami
It
is
isn't.
dropping really quickly now.
Yes, Tsunami is not driving a bad lap by any means, but it is actually just Dolan driving an exceptional lap and finally coming into the level of performance that we sort of expected from him. Gigasun is also eating into Tsunami's advantage, but Regenhertz, crucially, is not.
No,
And
still
Nov
far
himself,
behind.
what happened to him? So, looking like 20 seconds down, made a severe mistake, probably resulting in a respawn. He will fall behind Ekares. So it is a 4-player race, and some players appear to be lost. McKiller retires,
Yeah,
having missed the checkpoint apparently, confused by the layout of the map, and unfortunately will be a player dropping away. Eddie now falling so far behind. It is dubious whether he'll even be able to finish. Gigasun completing the overtake of Tsunami with some exceptional speed, but Tsunami, not long to tolerate that, does retake second place, if at least briefly. That being said, completely unable to keep up with Dolan at this point, who has just opened the throttle. Maybe saving first lap, just seeing if Regenhertz will be competitive and maybe letting the players make mistakes, and then finally, having warmed up on the map, Dolan jumps into his own
very nice.
with what I would call an exceptionally competitive lap. At the pace
Yeah,
he's currently displaying, it might be Deddy 2 actually, faster than Ekström's lap. Yet to be seen, however, if he can actually maintain that pace until the end. Still, definitely Division 1 lap in progress from him. It is now the battle for the second, between the second and third place, Tsunami and Gigasun, that is heating up. Gigasun a bit worse for wear from that drop. And Dolan in front actually
yeah,
dropping a second due to a mistake. This will allow
landing bug.
Tsunami a brief spark of hope for him as he reduces it to below 1 second. Quite a severe mistake from Dolan indeed, not necessitating respawn, but Tsunami will slide
Oof,
out. No longer able to compete and will quickly be dropping back. Gigasan, pleased to see that
he's on
ahead of
his
him,
tail.
and he will be in Tsunami's rearview mirrors very, very soon. This section of the track, you can definitely take advantage of your speed, but
Oof,
Gigasan, I think, now makes a mistake, allowing Tsunami again to flee and build up a little bit of an advantage. Past the 5-minute mark almost on the second lap, so we're approaching the end of this race.
oh, and Dolan hits the border. And that will be Tsunami into first position. Wow.
Exceptional indeed, and the Division 1 lap starts falling apart from Dolan as he's now also overtaken by Gigasan. Fortunately, Regenhertz nowhere to be seen means that Dolan can safely fall back to the lowest podium position. However, he needs to start making the comeback happen now if he wants to finish in first. Does manage to take advantage of a huge mistake by Gigasun, who will be dropping behind Regenhertz as well. Now only has Tsunami to catch. About 1 second the advantage with about 2 minutes to go. Dolan can make it up, but he won't be able to drive safely if he wants to make that sort of comeback happen. Dolan now building up a lot of speed, but Tsunami is not dropping any in this section, masterfully navigating these
Nice.
turns, doing very well for himself into the drop, stable as you'd like. So Tsunami maintaining the advantage, Gigasun falling quite far behind. Eddie drops out, unlikely that he would have even had time to finish considering how far behind he fell. TM Master might share his fate. Regenhertz stabilizing at the 5-second mark, but she will not be able to contend for the lead, barring a massive mistake up front. Dolan now half a second away and
Oh,
closing in further and
close.
further. Land bug affects neither player. They're free to continue, but Dolan has a lot more speed heading now into a section with a couple of straights. Does he again go for the shortened
He
jump? He does.
does.
So he prefers that route, but how will this affect his
Oh
outgoing
my
speed?
god.
Terribly, and Tsunami overtakes him with so much more speed, meaning Tsunami should have every advantage necessary to convert this race and finish in first. Doing very well for himself indeed. He builds up a huge advantage. Dolan did not have the correct strategic read. Shortcut proving to be his undoing on multiple laps now as Tsunami is marching forward into the lead. Has about 1 minute left. He's been consistent so far. He needs to finish it off in the same consistent style. Only a couple of corners remaining now
Ooh, close stuff,
between
but
Tsunami and
looking
an
good.
epic victory.
Yeah,
Dolan now again touching the border. Tsunami should be able to convert this. Regenhertz also falling further behind, actually slower than Tsunami this section of the lap. Corbo with a very important 4th place despite a bit of a perhaps individually underwhelming race. Tsunami seems to be only extending his advantage over Dolan, doing exceptionally well in the final stages of this race. But
No, he hits the
he
CP.
he hits
Oh,
the CP, and
no.
unfortunately the consistency dropping at the end. But Dolan, what have you done?
No, what is going
Dolan, what
on?
have you done?
Might Regenhurts win?
Regenhurts will win.
Regenhurts will win. No way. What have we seen? Oh my god, what is
My
this?
God,
No.
there's no way this can be real.
Oh my days.
Regenhurts finishes in a 15:02
Oh
from
my
6
god.
seconds behind. From lesser consistency and pace than both players, they both mess up in the final 3 corners.
Oh my days.
And they actually take second and third respectively. Corbo almost managing to snipe a podium position thanks to Dolan's late mistake, and we just saw an absolute daylight robbery from
Oh my
Regenhurts.
god.
Not doing all that well for herself on the first map, but she manages to seize the first place anyway, and heading into a flat map, kind of hard pressed to think who is going to win the following one, if not her. So
Yeah.
doing well for herself, but thanks to, I would say, a bit of a divine intervention.
Insane.
So
That
the
was
players
insane.
the players seem to have all the time in the world to finish, so we will be seeing all the remaining players finishing, as long as they can actually find the finish, as Minrat, oh my lord, he just jumped straight to Narnia. Difficult map to navigate for a lot of the players, I suppose.
Yeah.
Not perhaps a bit of a slaughter, actually, especially in the lower ranks, but I might have expected a bit more from Dolan and Regenhurts, maybe just a bit more. Especially when Dolan started lap 2 on
Yeah.
the pace, which could match Ekström's lap, but then it just, well, let's just say it ended up pretty ingloriously. Actually, most players not managing to set a better lap than a 7:30. Regenhurts, the only one that was able to actually finish the second lap with a 7:24, which is a decent time to be sure, but slightly below the margin, I would say.
Yeah.
Obviously, the
that's
first
true.
lap, not ideal. So, to be seen. On the following map, I think I might play.
Yeah, that
I
would
think
be
I might
nice.
even play just for the shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can get a POV stream at my place. The multi-stream link, I think it's been the same for the past 3 streams. Somebody might still remember it. As the rest of the players complete in various times, almost a minute between 8th place, actually more than a minute between 8th and 10th place. It has been a bit of a slaughter in the lower ranks, but they are going to finish, and I feel like that's the important thing. And obviously, for the players ahead of them, it is a good chance to take a bit of a break, stretch out, go drink some water.
Some hydrate. Very important.
Division 1 did not really have that kind of opportunity, as Dreamy almost gets sniped by Middenrat at the end, but does finish in 11th place.
All right.
2 minutes and 50 seconds behind Regenhurts, and now we're waiting for one lone player to finish.
TM Master.
TM
on his
Master
way.
23, slowly but surely arriving to the finish line.
That's respectable to
Navigating.
actually complete it. That's nice.
Yeah, obviously, this is a fairly challenging map for players that might not be, perhaps the most well-versed in NASCAR, maybe playing a bit more casually. He will slowly make his way towards the final segments of the lap, slowly but surely navigating through the corners, making sure not to miss any checkpoints, making sure not to touch any rams on the way there. After all, with 3 players retiring, he will be seizing at least a handful of points on this map, so doing well for himself. Now going into the ground segment, looking to finish the map safely and surely. Under 20 minutes, I think, would be quite decent. Very quickly, sorry, I would never say slowly. As a focus, sorry, Mr. Sweeto notices. Very, very considerate of him.
It's good that he finishes. That's good.
One corner at a time.
Easy
Looking
going.
to be, I believe, just above 10 minutes per lap.
It is
relaxing
indeed hard.
ASMR NASCAR gameplay.
Can watch this when you want to
across
sleep.
the grass.
Just
And
Eyes
into the
closed.
finish line
And there we go.
in 19 minutes and 38 seconds. So under 20 minutes. Very well done.
GG.
And GG. Done with the first map. Reagan Hertz being donated a win by divine intervention. And I think one of the
Wow.
most unfortunate Casper style endings from two FKX players I've seen in a long time.
That was insane. I mean,
Uh,
with a
insane
map that
is
long.
insane is certainly one way to put it, and I think quite an apt way to put it as well. So, into
Alright.
then map number 2, which is Steeko's Flat NASCAR 5.
And that was a very interesting map, I think, also on Tuesday.
It
Very
was indeed.
nice to spectate indeed. Pretty close, at least in Division 1 and 2. Let's see if we can see it here as well.
So, on to then Steeko's Flat NASCAR number 5. Where the other 4 are, we actually have no idea. It's number 5 then, and
Alright.
I've played a ton of TM 2020 the past couple of days, and the car is so unbearably light now in TMNF.
Yeah,
that I
it's
have no.
paper car.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna drive this, but
I
might
will
as well
see.
do it for fun. You know, a bit of a pace car for the weaker players. You know, just driving safely and surely.
Exactly. You should have like a
towards the
flag on
finish.
top, you know, saying like, oh,
Literally,
just safe.
the pace car, you know, Gran Turismo license test, you have to follow the pace car for
Yeah,
one lap
yeah,
and not
yeah,
crash into it. And I think I'm gonna do that for some of the players here. Just a very chill performance, family friendly, you know, all the things that go with that.
That's good. Alright.
Literally POV casting. Actually, I'm just gonna let Rayma take the reins
Okay.
because I've been
I'll go
talking
for
way
it.
too much on the past endurance maps. So this is where my co-caster turns into the star of the show. Take it
Alright.
away.
And you will drive, so Deft in the field, and the players are now on the way. The second map of the evening, BFNL. Of course, the last week, last chance for the players to get points in and maybe gain some points and gain some place as well on the individual ladder. Now, let's see. Not with a good opening here in the first lap, taking the lead.
I've got a completely wrong line for one of these corners. Actually, for several of them.
Wee. Def being overtaken. All right. So Nathan Regenhertz, after one lap, going into the lead here. And the difference is actually already starting to build up here with several mistakes being made. Also by Eka Race, who is already 10 seconds behind after only one lap. Now dropping even further after a severe mistake. So Eka Race, good performance on the first map, not yet showing it on this map. Let's see if he can climb back later on. Meanwhile,
He was very
Giga-san,
consistent up until I think the midpoint of lap 2.
yeah,
Then he just sort of lost his concentration, which is fair, you know. After 10 minutes of endurance on a map like that, which is not, you know, when the map is short, it's kind of formulaic. You kind of get into the rhythm and you start clearing these corners and you can sort of subconsciously adjust for things. But when you have a 7-minute map, which is kind of diverse all the way through, then it's also just a test of your individual concentration to make it for a single lap. You can't really recognize where you are in the lap because I
yeah,
also
very
sincerely
true.
doubt that most of these players have been, I don't know, training the map in any sort of substantial way. Because I mean, how do you train a 7-minute map, right?
Yeah, that is an interesting
is.
case indeed.
You know, that was one of the trained maps for this week, so I believe this map actually is untrained, so players should be seeing it for the first time. Now, obviously, most of the people watched the stream, so they knew what was coming, but obviously they didn't get a chance to drive on this map ahead of time.
It
So they're
seems
only
like
really discovering, you know, that they can't build up a sort of safe, comfortable line. They just have to drive it as it comes.
yeah.
And you can really feel this. Like, as I'm playing, I can't really get super comfortable because I haven't had a chance to develop a safe line ahead of time. So you sort of drive by intuition and you adjust to the small micro mistakes that you actually take in the lines that you drive. And I think basically nobody except Dopamine is immune to that kind of thing.
Yeah,
making these micro mistakes that force you to change your line.
yeah.
Only the best Division 1 players can drive a consistent endurance performance on an untrained map. But for players like me, and for players obviously like everyone else on the server, I do think that it's just, who is capable of handling their discomfort best and driving pretty well on the spot.
Yeah, and these mini adjustments indeed are very important. Might as well, yeah, lead to the outcome of the race, of course. So Regenhurts, meanwhile, in first place, cruising 1.2 seconds on the Mr. Deft here. And then we got a pretty close group with Gigasun and Not right behind Deft as well. So fight for place 2 is in full effect.
I don't think they're going to be counting me in the rankings because I already told them I'm not actually going to
That's true.
seriously participate in endurance. So you
Yeah,
might as well pretend that I'm not in the rankings.
Deft
I
the
think that's a
Ghost.
I'm just a pace car, seriously.
Yeah.
This is the only reason I'm playing, because to maybe give the players a bit of motivation, like, I can do this.
Yeah, they can. For sure, Gigasun now with some nice pace, Not following close behind, and then Tsunami a little bit further behind. And then the gaps start to show on the leaderboard. Dolan on 5.7 seconds already. So Dolan really struggling with the map until this point. The killer,
Obviously, for Dolan, it's not a lack of pace, but I would assume that he is a bit bothered by the fact that it is untrained, as I just had to,
yeah,
release and touch, so that's just the end of that. It
yeah,
is quite difficult to concentrate when you're also trying to sort of cast on the way, I guess, but
yeah, very
it is.
true. That is actually pretty hard to drive and cast at the same time, but you're doing well, so
Yeah, that concentration actually cost me a lot. What am I now, 3 seconds behind? Yeah, not exactly ideal. But
ah,
generally speaking, this map is. I feel like if this was a train map, you would see far less of an actual advantage being built up by most players.
yeah,
Because it is fairly. I mean, how should I say this? It's fairly formulaic. You can figure out the optimal line as you drive. The problem is, like, do you have the balls to actually use this optimal line?
mm,
Which is fairly risky, especially considering we are in TMNF. Do you have sort of the ability to overcome the jitters and actually land the necessary timings to drive this map well?
yeah,
Are you obviously able to, do you have the will to take some riskier lines which preserve more speed at the risk of finishing very near some Rammsteins at the end of almost every lap? And from myself personally, I always get jitters when I drive. I cannot hit the timings at all, so I just bleed pace every lap to players like Reagan Hertz that are just better players. Simple as that.
yeah, and she's looking really good so far, building up a nice, comfortable lead to Not in second place, 1.92 seconds ahead. So
I think that's much more expected, like,
yeah,
considering the current players on the server. I would say she is the strongest by some margin. How big that margin is varies by the day, I guess, in the maps, but I would say that she is the strongest player on the server right now, and it's good to see her live up to that.
yeah,
Not get bothered by the nerves of performing from a favorite's position at all.
yeah, very well done indeed. As we see
How many laps have we even driven at this point? Like, I'm
12.
surprised. I'm surprised it has only been 12 laps. Like, it's
Yeah,
felt for longer.
very true. Yeah, feels like we've been going on for quite some time, but
Yeah,
not now
especially on
into
a map
lap
like
13.
especially on a map like this starts feeling repetitive super quickly,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very
and you
true.
don't really feel like there is any passage of time happening around you at all as you drive.
Mm,
All you see is the corner in front of you. You
yeah,
don't actually have the time to consider the long-term implications of strategy. Like, when
yeah.
you are casting, and I love casting because it gives me this kind of insight that I wouldn't otherwise have. Um, Sort of have this ability to. Oh my lord, what has TMNF just done?
Oh, Dolan. Dolan
I
as
mean, I
well.
just lost 10 seconds to Ramsteins, which is why I dislike this game so much, but
Ay,
fair
ay,
enough.
ay.
Uh, no, all that aside, it is sort of finer points of endurance strategy really get lost on you when you're driving, because obviously the only thing you have on an untrained endurance map is just, hey, what's happening on the corner that comes up next. You don't really
Very
have time
true.
to consider that, and this is normally another reason why Endurance is trained, because you want to be able to build up the baseline level of comfort with the map necessary to drive it at a pretty good level, so that you can actually focus on, where the other players are and how your run is progressing
Yeah.
compared to how you expected it to progress. Um, you know, you want to have a sort of innate level of comfort so you can just drive without paying any attention to it. And on an untrained map, this just completely falls into the water, which is why I'm skeptical of the use of untrained engines.
Hmm. Yeah. Now we see it here again, indeed. So a little wrap
No, no.
up of what is going on there. We see Regenhurst now on 3 seconds, so she is doing well in first position as expected, as we said already. Not taking second place quite comfortably, 5 seconds ahead of Tsunami and 6 on Gigasan as it stands right now. McKiller completing the top 5 here, so he is doing well after, yeah, I think map number 1 for him worked out in a different way that he had in his head, maybe. And Dolan in 7th place, he is really struggling right now. Let's see if he can push just a little bit forward.
What Focus mentions in chat, which I have no idea how I'm actually able to drive and look at chat at the same time.
That is
But
remarkable.
but substantively speaking, it's not a problem that you're not able to understand this map. Every player at a decent level is able to understand what the optimal line on this map is within almost no time. The problem is that it is one thing to understand how the map should be driven, and it is another thing to execute it 30 times in a row, having only played a 1-minute warm-up on the map beforehand, while, simultaneously being in this particular game and under the pressure of an event, This, you do not really want to build that sort of level of baseline comfort and the ability to drive 30 consistent laps ahead of time, because then you start then it becomes a battle of finesse. This is really just a battle of, are you gonna pull a Deft and just lose 10 seconds to a Rammstein for no discernible reason, like that? And I
Yeah,
feel like that sort of detracts from the overall watching experience, as
yeah,
I
that's very true. Yeah,
again touch the wall for no tangible reason. It's pretty chill, but overall, I kind of do wish we could perhaps see this map train, because I do not think Dolan would be 7th if this map were trained. That's another suggestion that I'm just gonna
yeah,
go out there.
yeah. Far behind indeed,
I
and it makes a lot of
not trying to
difference.
time attack. It's not even that you're taking a risk. It's just you have jitters already, and you are generally speaking unable to. Just because you've perceived what the optimal line is does not mean that driving it is a trivial thing, right? Just because I am aware of how many timings I've missed in the span of a lap does not necessarily mean that I'm just going to be able to hit them all in the very following lap, right? That, I think, is the big problem, as it were.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's interesting to see as well. Two close places right now, Tsunami and Gigasan fighting for third place. I think the rest of the field, big gaps between them actually right now. So nothing super close going on at the moment.
And we saw the same thing in the higher divisions, where Dopamine just
Yeah,
kind of bursted into a division of his own, but also the middle of the field also fractured in ways which I think were kind of unexpected to me, and also in ways which I do not necessarily think are reflective of the real skill disparity between the players. I
yeah,
really feel like there was a lot of gambling being done in Endurance, and it is what it is, right?
yeah, yeah. True, we see it here happening again in the field at least. Gigasan now with the overtake, so going into the third position. Well done by him. Made some severe mistakes. Tsunami could hold on to that third place for a long time, but now Gigasan is actually moving out of his view pretty fast. So Gigasan stepping it up right now.
I would sort of expect that also, Gigasun is a player that, particularly on flat maps, I feel is underrated, or at least has exceptional prowess.
Yeah, he's doing super good
Definitely
here.
not to be underestimated, yeah.
Yeah, the gap to Nod seems too far though, but I think he would be happy if he would finish in third place here behind Reagan Hertz and not. And as I say that, he makes the biggest mistake ever, and he will drop a lot of places. Oh my days. Now even McKiller will pass Gigason. Ay ay ay.
This
Drops down
the
to 6th.
Yeah, this is the double-sided edge of him as a player. It is pretty evident in a lot of FKX players that they absolutely have the raw talent to each be very competitive, but it doesn't seem like that. When the time comes for that talent to be applied in a consistent way, I think a lot of them end up under-delivering on what they are capable of. As what could Noff do? Why am I in third?
Yeah, I'm also
going on?
looking at him. I don't know, but he fell from 2nd to 6th, now back up to 4th place.
The other source of frustration, obviously, is when you're driving as a player and you make the kind of you get the 10-second respawn I was hit with at the beginning. Then you see that for the past 5 laps you've been keeping up with Reagan Hertz's pace. That's a smidgen frustrating.
Yeah, as we see Gigason catching a really insane bug, now dropping to 7th place. Dolan passes him, going to 8th place. Eka race
wow,
right
great.
behind.
Another TMNF, and I fly straight out of the map. It's just delightful,
Wow.
you know.
Yeah.
Does remind me why I chose not to participate in Endurance in the first place, and thankfully why I won't have to after this map is over. In any case, right, it's kind of been a disaster where I made 2 super significant mistakes, still in 7th place, as 1 second behind Dolan. Does feel like a whole lot of players have had their, runs completely derailed for one reason or another. Reagan Hertz, obviously, I think the only one that has been substantively unaffected, and she's also showed I think that remarkable ability to stay consistent throughout the BFNL, and it's also what made her Division 2 wins, I think, so emphatic and dominant, precisely her ability to navigate tricky situations at a very respectable pace without actually exposing herself to any significant risk, or at least managing to survive them one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah, she's cruising.
She is, and
looking
at
good.
This point I think she's also going to start lapping the field.
Yeah.
I mean, she's already probably lapped everyone below position 8 or 9 if I'm looking at the game state correctly from my position, but yeah, this is more of what along the lines of what I expected from her. What I did not expect was the Dolan would be where he is right now.
Yeah. Far behind indeed, as Regenhurst goes into what would be the last lap here.
Yeah.
And we'll just cruise it out. Tsunami in 2nd place, also pretty safe. 12.9 seconds behind Regenhurst, but still about 7 seconds in front of McKiller. And Corbo is behind McKiller, I think 2 seconds. So pretty far for him as well. The field seems pretty settled as we go down the rankings here. Dolan in 5th place, not in 6th, Gigas on 8th.
And another TMNF, and it is what it is. The comeback, unfortunately, slightly derailed. I was thinking of sniping Dolan for the final lap. Not to be, though.
Alright.
As
Tsunami will finish.
driving over a Ramstein in any capacity in this game, it's just a delightful experience. You throw the dice and you pray to God that you land on a 6 or something along these lines.
Yeah.
As Reagan Hertz seals what I believe to be a very dominant victory, but also big shout out to McKiller, obviously, for finishing in 3rd. And also, I think, Corbo for 4th place. And what they also note in chat is that Reagan Hertz's time is actually 4th overall if we count in Tuesday's drivers, so a very impressive performance from her in particular. But also I think there's quite a lot of players that are going to be reasonably disappointed as we see Noff vocalize his frustration in chat.
Yeah.
Which I also think, I think it would be kind of interesting also. I'm glad I was streaming, so my POV is also visible. Yeah. Safe to say that I think at this point the most disappointed player is probably going to be Gigasan.
Yeah.
Who set the fastest lap by some margin, set 35 lap, and then finished 33 seconds behind. In fact, I do believe that at this point, almost every player that is not McKiller and Corbo is going to be quite disappointed.
Yeah.
It does show up in chat. And yeah, so we're past map number 2. This was 30 laps on Stico's flat NASCAR number 5, and we are now onto the third map, which is Temperley by Morocco. Spoff out for the second consecutive map, as he does seem to be online on the server, so it's not like he's dropping away for no particular reason, but he does not seem either able or willing to finish the maps. TM Master once again in last place, making his way to the finish line.
Just cruising. Again.
Not that bad of a race overall, especially from Reagan Hertz, who put in an absolutely astonishing performance and more along the lines of what was expected from somebody that was very dominant in Division 2 in the brief time that she spent in the BFNL. We're done with map 2.
There we go.
Very well done, I think, for most players, although most should be quite frustrated at the way it actually worked out for them, considering the bugs. And you know, quite good. Now we're headed into a map that is going to be arguably, even more prone to a bit of, a bit of a slay of concentration, and you just completely vanish on the following map. So I hope that the players are going to be able to sort of adjust to that. I hope the players are going to be able to perform at a slightly better level.
Yeah, let's see if they can. After 2 maps warmed up, but also maybe, trying to find concentration indeed to drive a vast number of laps.
I would imagine that most people would be quite tilted after map number 2. Noff, I feel, was driving very well in second place with a very good pace. Tsunami and Gigasan as well. In fact, the whole pack behind Reagan Hertz, who followed at about a 1 to 3 second disadvantage, ended up finishing more than 20 seconds behind, which I imagine is quite frustrating for most of the players. Obviously, it does not feel particularly good if you are a competitor, right? You want to showcase your best performance, and unfortunately I don't think a lot of players are going to point at what they've just driven as the best they could have possibly done, unfortunately for them. So this particular map, I would say, is actually very well made from Morocco. I think it is a hell of a lot more comprehensible than its first submission in week number 5. Of course, prone to a couple of bugs, but I would not feel that any of them are actually at the fault of the mapper, and the map, I feel, was very well balanced, very fun to drive, and a lot of players showcased some exceptional pace on it. So I'm really looking forward to also see what the players are capable of in this map. Maybe if we are going to see some good performances out of Noff, perhaps, as we saw some DGF members post exceptional lap times here.
Yeah.
Did I bound shift to save replay? What's the break then? Oh my god, what did I do? There's going to be 2 warm-ups, so I'm just going to quickly hop out of the server to see what I did to my inputs. What in God's name have I done?
You got enough time.
Shift. Good. What was it? The password was this. Yes, it was.
There we go.
Map number 3. I expect to see another great performance from Reagan Hertz, but I want to see the most from Noff. I want to see good performances also for, I think, from a number of players that might feel like they underdelivered. So Corbo and Noff for me. Corbo following up an exceptional performance on the previous map. I feel like on this map he is also very well positioned to actually succeed.
Yeah. Well, let's see if he can. Maybe also Dolan needs to step it up a bit. Just warming up right now. I think he was standing still on the finish line for a long time. So
there will be obviously a 5-minute break after this map, which is what we saw obviously from... we obviously saw the same exact schedule last week. And also, more importantly, Noff's comment ahead of time is actually that there is no way he will survive this map. So after a warm-up, the player is not feeling too motivated. And I think for Noff, as much as he may not personally enjoy the map, this is his kind of map. I think that he is very well positioned to succeed on this map.
But he is not here. Oh, they restart. Yeah, he retired, and he didn't mean to. So they are restarting the map right now. I think not instantly retired on start finish.
Fair enough, fair enough. As we also saw, obviously, from Lucky Shot, we also saw that sometimes retires do not actually happen when you intend them to. So off
All
then
right.
with map number 3 we go. Again, I am leaving it to my wonderful co-caster to sort of take the reins and maybe compare also what he's seeing this time to what he saw in Division 1 a couple of days ago.
Yeah, let's see how the players will take it here. Not with an instant mistake hitting the barrier there after the jump in the beginning. So he will drop down a little bit, but let's focus on the front of the field here with Tsunami, Gigasan Corbo, and the pace car driving at a good pace here. And Corbo,
Yep.
indeed, like Deft pointed out in the beginning, he is stepping it up at least in the beginning with a very good opening here.
Yes,
And
Corbo actually performed very well on similar maps
yeah,
in the previous weeks, which is why I actually want him to show up.
yeah,
Because obviously Corbo is not maybe a household name to most NASCAR watchers, right? You know, you might not remember when you saw him drive in a NASCAR tournament last. Obviously, I believe he did take part in the SNC, but maybe he flew a bit under other people's radar as he does not, I think, primarily play NASCAR. But he
yeah,
is an exceptionally good player at this style of map, and I feel like it is a fool's errand to discount his skill when the map suits him. Is actually due to rescheduling issues, he actually played with Division 1 in week number 1.
yeah.
And I feel like on occasion he actually displayed a remarkable level of performance for, you know, his own standards, maybe.
Yeah, it's very true. Was
Corbo also, as they
enjoyable.
mentioned, played BFNL 21, so
Yeah, yeah,
I,
good
I, I
stuff.
really do believe an underrated player, and I sort of think that, you know, at this point we have carved out, I think, a very stable niche of players who play these sort of fun speedish more maps. Obviously, this one is not quite a fun speed map, but definitely a bit better suited to players who are not perhaps the best versed in more technical NASCAR corners, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
this
very
this
true.
this this kind of map suits them, I think, particularly well. As obviously the leap at the beginning of the lap, the short air time you have there is actually, I think, one of the most defining elements of the lap as a whole, because it is quite easy to make a mistake, especially because it is effectively a jump into a banked corner, at least jumped into an approach to a banked corner, which means that you can do what I did, miss it completely, to no drift it and lose about a second to the rest of the field, so a substantive drop in pace. Gigason doing very well for himself, I think, in first place.
Yeah,
He
doing very good.
should definitely be shouted out, because again, his pace is undeniable, but it is now time to sort of match that pace with a bit of consistency, as that first corner is weird to drive, as I almost touched the wall again due to the drop. First corner also has, I feel, sort of a weird timing. If you do not arrive in it with some good speed from the final corner, you may feel a bit weirded out by the line you were forced to take, and obviously you will be bleeding a lot of speed, as I do the same thing for the second consecutive lap and now face a 2.7-second disadvantage, falling now back into my standard pace car for the weaker players type of deal.
All right, and as we see Gigasan making a mistake there, hitting the barrier in the turn, and Regenhertz with an easy overtake. So, and now Gigasan drifting as well. So giving up that first position and even the second position to Regenhertz, and not who came back from a very early small mistake, I should say. And now after 4 laps, he has taken position 2 and will be
I
hunting
feel
for
like, yeah,
Regenhertz.
that leap is everything. If you manage to take it in a comfortable way, I feel like the rest of the lap flows exceptionally well if you do not bleed a lot of speed there. The rest of the lap is pretty. I mean, I hate to use the word conventional, but is this something you will be ready to expect as a NASCAR player, right? And even as somebody who might not be super versed in the style, the corners are very intuitive. I would
Yeah.
say this is a very good map. It is just that that leap really is the lap deciding element, and what you do in the rest of the corner seems to matter substantially less, at least from my cursory observation.
Yeah, very
Although
true.
obviously as a player, and I believe this was an untrained map, obviously observations may vary.
As we see Not right before that jump down make a big mistake, and
Yeah,
he
that
will lose
probably
so
forces a
much
respawn,
space.
exactly. Yeah, he's
Yes.
probably I'd even force a respawn from him as I see Corbo and Tsunami trailing me, so doing very well for
Yeah.
them. I'm just going to try to, be their pace car and sort of drag them further along the road before I finally drop out due to a mistake that I'm bound to eventually make.
Yeah, and Corbo
As
in that position is doing very well indeed. He is not making a lot of really big mistakes, and he's just cruising right now.
he is cruising and he is catching up to me as I'm not exactly driving what I would call clean laps or even
He
exceptionally
will
good ones.
drive a
So they
very
should be
nice
overtaking.
time.
So they should be overtaking me very shortly as I drop again that first corner. I just don't get it. Not even a hard corner, it's just I simply do not have the timing for it, so I should be overtaken by Corbo and Tsunami quite shortly, assuming that my current pace deficit continues. Up front, I see Gigasan maintaining a sort of a 2-second disadvantage to Reagan Hertz, who seems to be dominant. Dolan nowhere in sight is mildly
No,
concerning for me, because I would expect him to be, at least competitive. I'm not saying that every map has to be his style, but I would say that he on pace should be able to keep up with Reagan Hertz, but he's not doing that at all so far.
8th place for him.
That's not.
13.3 seconds.
Yeah, and I just saw from Corbo that it was the best lap of the race in at 89. I just realized.
Yeah.
Exceptionally well driven from him, and it needs to be like. We really need to shout out these players for a
Yeah,
job
very
well done
well.
as I try to pull them further up the road.
That's just using your slipstream to
Exactly.
get
It's
closer
like
to
a bike.
Giga.
It's like a bike race. I'm just breaking the wind for them.
Exactly. Yeah, so he's doing well. Tsunami, little bit further behind right now. He is trying to match Corbo's pace, but Corbo is doing
Not
quite well
exactly.
as he just makes a mistake there, and Tsunami will complete the overtake. Well done by Tsunami, nice line. Corbo has to
Uh,
drop the position.
Focus. I mean, he does point out that Dolan is probably cruising for fun because, honestly, unless you are really in first place, I believe that there is a lot less points on offer actually than in the main event. So
Hmm.
I believe that if you realize that you're not exactly doing too well for yourself on the day, you might as well just kind of relax and take it easy. Oh my god! Oh no 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 no! That was risky for me. What am I doing?
We saw that from Corbo's perspective, who now overtakes Tsunami again. So nice fight going on there between them.
And more
Looking
importantly,
very good.
Gigasan has actually frozen Regenhertz's lead at 2 seconds. I am falling further
Yeah,
behind with every passing lap, but he is actually sticking close. So showing that he has actually consistent pace and not just peak one lap pace, able to keep up with her a whole lot better than I am actually able to, as the players behind me unfortunately did not take much advantage of my pace car services.
they are cruising back to you once again, or at least trying to. Corbo now with a little bit of
They will,
speed.
they will catch they will catch up in time. I'm quite confident of this.
Well, let's see if they can.
They have improved. They have much better pace than I do over a longer period of time. As we are now actually, we are so far into this race. I didn't even realize because the flat map was going super slowly, but this one is just flying along.
Yeah,
And 10th lap already in progress. I could have sworn it was only 5.
yeah,
Funny how
cruising.
endurance has that sort of, endurance has the ability to just fly away from you. You barely realize it, and you're already on your way to the finish line, unable to really make up any significant positions compared to your competition, as
Yeah.
it is already too late if you didn't get off to a good start.
Interesting pointed out by Focus indeed. McKiller and Eka race for place number 6, I think that would be, as Deft will not be in the rankings. Very close, as now Eka race, as we just spectate him, goes into the barrier and it's not even close anymore.
Yeah, I type PNEDEF oh no right now, but unfortunately not able to do that while I'm driving.
No,
Literally have an emote for this exact purpose.
there we go. We can put cursed in chat.
It's Focus's fault this time. He was the one who asked for it, so
For sure. Not now overtaking Dolan in 8th position, so not dropping back to 7th. 20
yeah.
seconds behind.
Yeah, I'm unable to keep the pace, but Gigasan is keeping up with Regenhertz's pace, but he's not actually making up any substantive time on her. So looking like a comfortable third win for Regenhertz. What
Yeah.
has just happened to Tsunami?
Yeah, Tsunami seems to be gone. Giga-san as well dropping behind you. Tsunami is still behind Corbo.
I just lost the leap, so all three of them should be able to complete the overtake on me very quickly, as I just dropped almost a full second of pace.
Nah, I don't think so. Giga-san not too fast.
Alright then, pace car it is. Let's fucking go.
We have a very nice group here actually. Tsunami, Giga-san and Corbo super close. Fighting for place number 2.
So this is place 2, 3, and 4 they're fighting for. Again,
Yeah.
I will not be counted in the rankings, or at least I don't want to be. I'm not sure what the admins are actually going to do about it.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Oh,
Dolan sets the
Tsunami!
fastest lap. That is very well. You know, Dolan can drive. I think, yeah, what Focus mentioned earlier, he might just kind of be chilling out at this point, and I don't fault him, because when you get tilted, I feel like it's impossible to restore a level of confidence that you have before you make your first substantive mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Some nice times being driven indeed here. And that's very good to see. These players stepping it up.
And from Corbo in particular, yeah, I sort of expect him to have a nice time on this map. Dolan as well, obviously doing very well for himself.
Very nice.
I mean, the race has been pretty uneventful, I'm not going to lie to you. Nobody is able to really keep up with Regenhertz. They just keep falling further and further behind, thanks to small micro mistakes building up. And I do think that by the end of the race, Gigasan and Corbo should be able to catch up to me, as their pace is just superior. And Regenhertz now with an incredibly quick lap, so she has the peak pace of any other player in the field, but
wow,
far more consistency overall. And on an untrained map, obviously that is just a marker of pure skill on her behalf, so absolutely needs to be shouted out.
Yeah, just cruising, and Corbo in second place. Also just, he's right behind you, and he is putting a gap between himself, Giga-san, and Tsunami in number 4. So he is looking good for that second position. Let's see if he can keep it up. Would be very nice performance by him. He is
I do wonder
right
what
behind the pace car.
The pace car has done actually a pretty good job for everyone except Regenhertz.
Yeah.
this time, this is actually a pace car. I'm quite happy with this. This is what I intended to be for the rest of the players, sort of a marker of what you can do to finish on a podium, and that's what I wanted to be for these players. And happily on this map, I'm actually able to drive that way and not be stuck. In Ramstein hell. So Focus has already prepared the scores. Very happy to hear that.
That's
going
nice
to see how actually Regenhertz, but also how the other players performed, and obviously seeing if they maybe posted some very interesting times, as I do think that Gigasan, Corbo, and Tsunami have actually driven a super respectable race.
And Corbo, speaking about it, is only 0.1 away from day 1 right now. Ah, he just drops it now. That is a shame. On a super fast lap behind the pace car, of course. Cannot quite finish a PB.
I think we are done here. Good. So, yeah, I wonder what the... So wait, Regenhertz just drove second overall. Wait, second overall. You are serious. 12:55 a second overall.
Wow.
What's a 13:02 then?
That has to be quite good 10? As well. Corbo as well.
Overall? That top 10 overall?
Razorlight was 57, Dopa 52.
Dopa 52.
All right.
Can you just like list out the top 10 times of Tuesday? Just to see like where Corbo, Gigasan, and Tsunami actually managed to finish.
That is very nice. What a time by Regan indeed, uncontested here once again. And Corbo with the second place finish, I think he's really happy with that.
So yeah, the pace car provided the 8th overall time, which means that Corbo actually probably finished top 10 overall by time. By managing to keep up, so exceptionally well done, and obviously
very well
Gigasan can't be far off either, so
good stuff. Pace car, yeah. So Corbo was saying couldn't catch that, but that was exactly the point. That's good. Good stuff. All right. So TM Master once again on his way.
10th. So Corbo would be 10th, and exactly what I said before. I do expect him to perform quite well on this sort of map. Actually, ninth, because like I said, I'm not going to
Hmm.
have them count my time.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really be nice to the rest of the players to take away a position because I felt like driving at the last minute. So obviously looking for. I think that's just really well done from Corbo. Super
Yeah.
impressive as
Very well
now
done.
go into a 5-minute break and drop the caster curse emote just in case.
Oh no. Very nice. All
Fairly
right.
well done. Fairly well done, I think, for a casting and driving type of gig.
Yeah,
Kind
good
of do
stuff.
miss this. I used to actually sort of comment on things as I drove, but pretty interesting actually. Ekka Race and Suito finishing within 200ths of a second from each other is wow.
That is
That
also
was a
pretty
spectacular
insane.
race.
Yeah.
That was a spectacular race. Just very well done. So yeah, where's the rest of your chat? How many people are watching on your stream anyway? Because I got
Not
one
too
person.
much. Not too much. We got about 10 people here. So, of course,
Yeah, it's
the
like, come
Sunday
on.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a Sunday today. That doesn't mean you can't make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, because
Yeah,
you've
it's
seen
very
some
true.
pretty good action so far, I would say. Nothing to scoff at.
Yeah,
So the
very
players are
true.
going to take a 5-minute break, and I think I'm going to take a water break as well.
Yeah,
Maybe
me
relax
too.
myself.
All
Relax the
right.
hands, because honestly, this endurance does kind of start hurting you after a while. And we'll be back in 5 minutes
Fingers.
to look at Odd World, the fourth map of the evening,
All
by
right.
Lucky Shot himself and the site of his famous incident. Let's hope that doesn't repeat itself for the rest of the players. See you guys soon.
All right. So we'll take a small 5-minute break, guys. I hope McKiller showed some good stuff now. I think McKiller is out. He literally just left because he has to wake up at 4:30 a.m. So he will be gone. All right. I will quickly take a break as well, guys. 5 minutes. Well, actually 4 minutes now until we are back, and then let's go. There we go. What am I watching? What is that on your shoulder?
That is Peppy, the little plush unicorn on all of my emotes.
Oh my god. What a legend.
Really is.
The unicorn. GG.
GG indeed. So this particular map obviously was a bit of a funky ride for most players, which is something we saw. Actually, Lucky Shot, who mapped it, finishing ahead of Dopamine almost, and then on lap number 16, the incident, as we prefer to call it, a small ram bug sending him into the jump at a skewed angle. He was no longer able to make it, had to respawn. Didn't leave himself any checkpoints to really make the rest of the race. Oh my, what is that jump?
Let's see. Oof.
Did they already start
I
driving?
don't think so. Because
I missed
Reagan
the
Hertz is
start.
on her back in the grass. So I
That
think...
sounds so weird out of context.
Yes, it does. But she actually is 4 wheels up in the air, chilling. You know. So everyone is chilling out here.
Close the doors and windows. Bellman with the good reminder actually opened my window, let some air in. Might be a good time to close it. But maybe I can also drive with some fresh air, you know, coming in. Chilly
Yeah.
air.
Yeah. What if you need fresh air? Yeah.
Exactly. Fresh air is a prerequisite for good NASCAR performances.
It
Did
is
nobody
actually
tell them?
important. Yeah.
Health and safety warning, do not leave the windows closed for too long. Let some fresh air in. Do some
Exactly.
toe touches. Very good way to refresh yourself
Very good.
in between very, very difficult rounds of NASCAR endurance. Because obviously 5 maps is just plain out difficult to drive.
Yeah. It asks a
Bottle on
lot.
the table now. Yeah, hydration sensation.
Hydrate.
About to go in.
There we go. Ooh. Let's see. Where's Corbo? Lucky Shot asks. Yeah, we haven't seen him. Did not drive yet. He actually gave up. He is not here.
Yeah, maybe he just gave up because, you know, 5-minute break and everything, so he probably
Yeah.
took the 5-minute break, but probably might have overshot the clock a little bit. That's fine, though. We'll wait for him, for obvious reasons.
For sure, yeah.
I really do like this map. Like, Lucky Shot is mapped a good map. The problem is, it's in TMNF, you know?
Hmm.
So you sometimes just have what we call the incident. No, seriously, if you rewatch the clip, obviously, I titled it The Incident, but that is just straight up a bug ruining what was an amazing run from Lucky Shot. Because obviously, sure, he had Mapper's advantage and Dopamine did overtake him, but he would still finish in second place, and I think he was just driving exceptionally well almost the entire evening, so...
Yeah,
needs
it's
to
very
be
true.
shouted out, and then, unfortunately, bug ending what was an amazing run for him, so... needs to be said, and... like, driving this map, it is really, really well made. I have to say that much.
Yeah, very good.
So we're gonna keep Pepe on the shoulder for this one.
Nice. Let's see if
maybe
it
for
stays
good luck.
there.
I really hope he does. As, yeah,
There we go.
a bit of popcorn eating together. Is this another curse? Entirely possible. Don't discount it.
We'll see. Only way to find out. Let's indeed see if the players can find pace here on the fourth map.
Honestly, the funkiest corner on the whole map, I mean, except for that jump, which obviously does expose you to some landing bugs every lap. Funkiest corner for me is actually the final corner into the beginning of the lap, where I find that if you're driving very quickly, it is actually quite possible to clip the outside ramp signs and send yourself to an early vacation from BFNL.
Yeah.
So, you know, worth pointing out that that may be the cause of quite a few crashes. And I'm actually not too sure if it was the cause of any crashes before. We think it was, but we probably missed them in the heat of the moment, so...
well, let's see.
To be seen how this one will progress, as it is 20 laps in this odd world Lucky Shot has constructed for us. Quite a lot of time to make any mistakes, but also quite a lot of time to establish a consistent pace. And what is
Exactly.
actually a pretty consistent map with the exception of those two elements. Like, I do like it a lot.
Very nice. So, oh my god, we see like 4 or 5 players failing the first jump there in the first lap. So that
Well,
is painful.
yeah. Maybe that was not the best idea. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is indeed.
I do believe this was a train map, so it's not like... What was this the train map? I think we said on Tuesday that this map was actually supposed to be train.
I
Was
think it
it?
might have been.
I don't even remember.
We have to know. But yeah,
Was
a
this
lot
map
of
train or not?
fails in the beginning.
Really curious. Like,
Yeah, maybe somebody in the chat knows. I can't remember as well. Oh,
I don't recall.
Gigasun dropping far back as well.
What do you do?
Oh, yeah, mistake. Corbo now mistake as well. Just hitting the wall for no obvious reasons,
So
actually.
this was a trained map, so I don't know, man. I do think like that jump is not particularly difficult. They didn't actually play the map before this at all, and it was pretty obvious how it's meant to be navigated. So, though now they say the map has actually been updated. Look closely at the jump. Like, what's different about it? I mean, yeah, there's an escape road, so you can navigate it, but the jump itself hasn't been changed, has it?
No, I
I think
don't
it's
think
still the
so.
same
It's the
curvature of
same.
jump. So,
Yeah.
if you're driving this the intended way. So, okay, so they added an escape road, which I think is fine, especially in this division, but the jump itself doesn't remain altered, so if you train this map at all, like you should, I think that, you know, if you give yourself half an hour, even if you just have a complete lack of understanding, you should be able to navigate it, so. Unless you land bug, I don't feel like there's anything about that jump that should be the cause for a lot of concern, so.
All
I do
right.
feel like the players could have done a bit of a better job preparing, and 5 players dropping lap 1 is a bit much. I think in Division 1 we had 1 person dropping, and I think it was due to a bug, so,
Yeah.
you know, fair play, you could have done a bit better. A person that doesn't need to do any better is actually Tsunami, as I see him in second place now, and keeping up very well with Reagan Hertz, who herself is again on an exceptional pace.
Yeah.
She said
Tsunami
actually
close
in
though.
the intermission between maps that she is not actually sure how she drove the second overall time. I had a bit of a joke response to that, which I will not share for legal reasons.
All right.
The chat knows, obviously. They were there when it was done.
Yeah.
But
Reagan.
yeah, doing exceptionally well
Doing
basically
good.
the entirety of the tournament after she joined. And I think obviously her skill level is well known to be very high, even from the FOTS days. Perhaps I would say that I didn't expect it to be quite this high, but it is definitely not out of the realm of the ordinary for her to drop absolute pipe bomb performances. And to be fair, the entire reason why FUTS was such a feared and esteemed clan is precisely because all of their members were exceptionally high-skilled players that were all able to drive exceptionally good times and be highly competitive, all the way from Fluff and Razorlight to the 2 stars that you might
Yeah.
remember, to people
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Johnny, Stake, who showed an amazing performance in Division 1 this year, Ponsegel, Lodi.
Yeah. And all
And
very consistent, I think, as well.
obviously, Reagan Hertz also, who
Yeah.
featured, I believe, also the SNC this year, and also there displayed an exceptionally high level of performance. So it's a bit of a serial success, right? Yeah, so Focus reminds me, she was actually in Dream Team Reloaded Remastered, so the winners of the 2022 Spring NASCAR Cup over Any Blue.
Yeah.
Basically, the SNC becoming what it is now, so this sort of format of everybody else fights to see who's going to compete against Dream Team. I think it was pretty fun, but at this point I'm a bit bored of it after a few years.
Yeah, it's
although I
true.
don't think we're actually going to change it for 2023, because even with Stake and Reagan Hertz returning, I'm not sure if FUTS actually have enough active players to really form a team, or maybe even the desire to form a team. Like, not entirely sure what the state of affairs is with this VEM, because obviously I believe Johnny is no longer an active player to my knowledge.
No.
As he is now focusing on life. I believe, and just his work and
Yeah.
his work.
Yeah, we'll see how it will develop.
No, focus. I did not mean in the sense that SNC should go. I mean in the sense that it has been the Dream Team assembly, right, entering instead of the FOTS team. So, with the addition of the best free agents every year, it has been, I think, almost impossible for any NASCAR team, which was, I think, PNE Blue in every instance, or the strongest PNE team was always fighting them. It was impossible for any team in NASCAR which does not recruit from outside organizations to assemble a dream team style roster, because when you draw in Razi, the actual best Croatian NASCAR player, and also a TMGL or like OGL quality player, depending on when you watch them, as I touched the wall and just
He is
dropped my pace car status for no
exceptional.
reason. When you get him, and when you also typically have Dopamine on your roster, Shimmy was part of DTR as well. Devil has also joined them this year, so they have such an accumulation of talent that it is basically you have to pick the strongest remaining team, typically PNE, and you have to then pick their 4 strongest players, and then they also have to perform, I think, at their optimal level, as I just completely lose it. And yeah, pace car times are over for me on this particular map, but
Aye.
not that there was much to actually report, as the map was progressing sort of like every other one.
Oh no, not. Oh, he's trying to turtle. Oh my god, he cannot turtle anymore. Not has just given away I don't know how many places. Let's see where he
Yeah, on
stands
this
now.
map, respawns are
Oh
punishing on
my
the order
god.
of 15 seconds or more, so
Yeah.
very likely he is just completely out of the race at this point and
Yeah,
will
he's
not actually be
just
making a return to any substantive positions. As
11th.
actually, now that I've
Wow.
already made a mistake, might as well, just sort of go balls to the walls, flat out risk a bit more.
Just a little hunt mode.
Yeah, Devil in chat remarks that he would have not normally joined DTR, but obviously a lot happened. Yeah, so not to go into details on what it actually is that happened. It's sort of to be expected, but on the other hand, I think that it was better watching you in DTR than it was watching you on the FKX team, because the last time FKX submitted 3 rosters, I believe they were all eliminated in the quarterfinals pretty ingloriously. Didn't really go well for them, and also this year I believe they lost to the secondary PNE lineup that was filled with guests. So
Yeah.
I do think that watching Devil on Dream Team was an absolute pleasure, because he was in the active roster for the majority of the tournament.
Yeah, that was good.
Any NASCAR tournament without Devil is just straight up worse off. So yeah. No,
Very true.
Shimmy's last tournament, I believe, was the 2021, I think, edition of the SNC.
Yeah. That was in
And
TM2?
yeah, TM2, yes.
I think so,
Was
yeah.
his last one, and when he won, he also just announced that he would no longer be playing NASCAR, as he was, I believe, moving or something along those lines, and did not actually have a computer where he was moving. Not sure if he also had a lack of motivation to go with it, but he would not have the means to play NASCAR, at least the foreseeable future. And yes, that is how we lost Shimmy, obviously, who was, I think, in the eyes of many, one of the very, very top tier of NASCAR players,
Yeah.
the
For
cream of the
sure.
crop, and
Yeah.
also one of the main rivals to players like Dopamine. With Shimmy's departure, I think it was a bit of a foregone conclusion what would happen in the rest of the tournaments. As I don't feel like a player has really showed up apart from the already existing elite players that would really challenge Dopamine as the individually best player in the NASCAR community. Obviously, the Razi Dopamine matchup is something we'll never see, because Razi is focused on actually, playing TM 2020 primarily, and only shows up to the SNC every year, where the same team as Dopamine for the past 3 years. So
Yeah. Yeah.
not actually.
Who knows what will happen in the future. But
Yet
for
to be seen
now,
what's going to
indeed.
happen, obviously, for SNC 2023. But
Yeah.
you kind of pause to yourself and think that DTR is probably going to be, actually, it's going to be DTRRR, because
Yes.
actually, no, wait a minute. So it was first Dream Team, right? So DT and
That
then
was
DT.
the
Yeah,
first
so
one. Yeah.
DTRRR. So Dream Team Reloaded, Remastered, Reborn. Okay, cool.
There we go.
Probably also going to hire away the very best talent on offer for a second consecutive year, and when they're able to also draw in the FUTS talent pool as a basis for the team, we already knew the team was going to be strong. I believe they had Racerlight, Fareshi, another amazing player that was part of FUTS,
Yeah.
Egenhertz as well. So yeah, no. They have such a good base of talent, and then they obviously extend it with players like Dopamine and Razi, and you just get an absolutely unbeatable mixture. Because as we see from today, Regenhertz is actually driving times which are honestly on par with the very best we saw in Division 1, which I think that's a performance even better than Stakes on aggregates. So
Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting to note. Not what I expected from her, to be honest.
Yeah, she is
Especially
doing very
since,
well.
like many other players, she, I believe, has the habit of showing up for tournaments but not actually playing a lot of NASCAR in the intervening time between them. Which is the same exact thing I do, and I believe a lot of other players do as well.
Yeah.
So it's surprising to see that she is able to just materialize that level of performance with remarkable consistency every week, so shortly after returning, and major kudos then to her as well.
Yeah, very well done indeed.
Because if she was here
Strong.
for the full 6 weeks, you kind of struggle to think Division 1 would be, I believe, also at great risk of actually just dropping a ton of points to her, because her times right now are absolutely obscene.
Yeah. Very nice. Easily in the lead. Meanwhile,
This map does go on for a while.
yeah, it is a long endurance map indeed. And Tsunami and Gigasan for the second place here. Nice battle, actually. They are quite
Yeah,
close, so let's follow
not
this
able
for a
to.
bit.
Yeah,
See how they will develop their pace here, as I think the rest of the field, nothing extremely close going on. We got for place 9 Akarays and Flareon, as we see
Larian, I
Gigasan
think
in the
Larian needs to
barrier.
be shouted out, because Larian, I believe, is a Division 4, Division 5 player, and he's now in the top 5 on this map. So
Yeah,
huge shout out to him, I think. 'Cause I think he is doing an exceptional job indeed.
yeah, he's not too far behind Akarays, so keeping it up quite well.
Ekares himself, I believe, is a Division 4 player, so, two players from
Yeah,
the lower echelons with an incredibly respectable endurance performance for themselves. Flareon, I don't think I've ever seen that clan tag before, so IDDN, I'm not sure if anybody can actually provide me some context in chat what team this is and what they are doing. And I believe Ekares as well is a player that has not actually played in a NASCAR tournament before BFNL. Unless he played in last year's BFNL, I didn't see him in the SNC, and obviously this is the first time that we're getting a witness of him driving, and I think that
yeah,
he has actually done remarkably well. I think he's floated around Division 3 multiple times, and Focus in Chat mentions that Division 3 is actually sort of the place where he belongs skill-wise, and I think he's proving that abundantly well tonight.
yeah, for sure. Doing well for himself indeed. Couple bugs here and there we see now, but he is beating them, so well done. As Giga-san made a huge mistake, we see. So he is out of the fight for second place. Now very far behind Tsunami. And as we
He
said
was out
before, with the
for
respawns,
he was out for quite some time because he was stuck behind a pace car, and that is 5
yeah,
seconds away from Tsunami now, thanks to an early mistake I did, dropping incidentally just about 5 seconds. So Tsunami has done very well pace-wise, I feel.
yeah,
And
good
we are
stuff.
approaching the end. I think
There
Reagan
we
Hurd
go,
should be at the
Reagan
finish line
finished.
right about now.
Yeah,
Yes. Maybe Focus can actually provide some context on what we just witnessed. Third overall.
yeah,
So
GG.
that's second overall, third overall, and I believe, what was it on the first map? We said it was something like fifth overall. Something along these lines.
That is
That's really
insane.
curious, actually.
Yeah,
That is really curious.
Tsunami 9th. Wow, that is also still pretty good.
And Reagan Hurt's only with 40 minutes of training. That, I think, is curious. Properly curious, honestly. doing, I think, punching not just above her usual weight, but above any expectation. I don't think Racerlight drove as well as that. I don't
Yeah,
think
that's
Stakes drove
insane.
as well as that either. She might have just straight up been the best performing endurance player from the entirety of FUTS, which is, it's almost mind-boggling when you think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
What a performance, actually. So Stake was actually then overall second, I believe, with 1446 on this map. Um, yeah, not really sure what to say. That's a performance and a half.
Really good.
Just, hats off. Very well done.
Yeah, and Corbo's saying pretty happy for my performance as well. Finishes in 6th and then actually 5th place here. And doing very well for himself tonight.
He really has, I think. Very well done to him indeed. So, yeah, we are now on to the final map. At this point, I do believe that most of the players should probably be experiencing a fair bit of fatigue.
Yeah, we have been going on
Not
for
sure how
quite
it
some
is for
while.
the others. My wrists personally start hurting like hell after a long endurance match. And
Hmm.
now we're kind of cresting that mark. I've only driven 3 maps and it's already starting to hurt. I don't even want to know how the rest of them are feeling. So very well, I think, done. Very well done from all or most of them to
Yeah, to actually finish it as
keep that
well.
sort of
Yeah,
keep that sort of performance going.
yeah.
So IDDN is a server and they took the name as a group. Yeah, quite
All
well
right.
done then from the representatives of IDDN, particularly I think Flareon with an exceptionally good performance. So
Yeah, good
very well
stuff.
done.
New
Yeah.
name. And on the leaderboard instantly. Well done.
And Reagan Hertz actually finishing that time with a personal best of only 43.81, which is actually not that far away from the rest of the players in the field. So she's just straight up driving at a rock solid pace
Yeah, very,
the whole
very sick.
duration, which is just, I think, something exceptional that should be noted.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. All right, so I
On
think
to the final map then we go.
last lap here. Yeah, or last map, I should say. Not the last lap yet. Vamos the car map indeed, so let's see. Find out on track 5. Yeah, she's doing very well, so let's see if she can keep it up. Surely she can. What
Can't
a
compare lap times.
performance.
No, I'm strictly only referring to the lap times in this division. What was driven in the match. I'm not looking at daily times for this analysis. So, pretty astonishing, I think. Astonishing that she's able to perform as well as she does. But not, again, unexpected, because the moment you see the FUTS tag, you think to yourself, well, I'm dealing with an exceptional player.
Yes.
What? Oh, this is... Oh.
There goes the pace car. Goodbye.
This is a map.
This is a map. Interesting map indeed. I think that point where you just hit the wall was a point where we saw in Div 1 2 also a lot of mistakes being made. Interesting turn. Should be
There's
illegal to
certainly
put
something.
Falmos map last, yeah.
I do agree with this, generally speaking, because I feel like, I mean, the rest of this map just flows like butter. Absolutely beautiful. It's just that one corner that sort of confuses me. And I actually won't have time to try it more than once more before driving 15 laps. This is untrained, I believe, so...
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see again what Regenhertz is going to do in an untrained map, because the last time we had an untrained map, she was, I believe, second overall, which is just filthy.
Yeah, that
Sure,
was
she might have
insane.
watched the stream to get some inside intel, but watching the stream and driving the map are two entirely different things. I believe that was what I just did was a very slow way to take that turn. Yeah, I'm
We'll
not
see.
sure I'm gonna be a pace car for much, but yeah, should be. I mean, if the previous performance is anything to go by, we're looking at a Regenhertz 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
What Devil also mentioned earlier is that endurance on TMNF, unless you have the mentality to drive safe, is impossible. Because if you just have this sort of mentality that you're going to drive 15 laps on your average pace and all that, you're not going to succeed. You just have to have special mentality and awareness of where you are in the race and how much longer you have to go, but also a certain propensity to take the less risky option.
Yeah.
Take the less risky option at all times, because what you see in endurance very often is that the players dominating are just able to chain high daily laps almost at will, without even breaking a sweat or risking significantly. This is more common in train maps, but obviously you don't have the luxury of a lot of those. So
Yeah, very true.
doing it untrained is, I feel, even more impressive, and it is already disgustingly impressive to have a clean TMNF endurance race.
Yes, that is
So,
very true. Oh,
yeah, I
as
feel
we
like
see first players going into the barriers there. Wow,
I
actually a
feel like
lot.
that corner, I still touched the outside ram, even though I was actually trying to drive an exceptionally safe line. I feel I sort of understand why. Sort of understand the problem. Like that corner really can cause a bunch of issues. Oh, what the?
Oi! Pace car. No. Pace car rip.
This isn't even a thing of mentality. This is just straight up like, what is this game even doing? Seriously,
Ay, ay, ay.
how are you supposed to play competitive endurance when taking the corner the intended way is just not tenable at all? Okay, 12 seconds. Easy comeback. Reyma can take over the cast.
Yeah, let's go. You will focus on the comeback. We will see what will happen in the front of the field as we see Corbo, Tsunami, Regenhertz, Dolan and Noth forming a nice little group here. Actually battling for that first place position that Noth is now occupying. Eka Race had a very good start, but he dropped down, so he is out. And Noth is doing very well here for the opening at last, so good stuff by him. Now let's see this corner, if everyone makes it. No, not. He will actually survive and stay in the track, but he just couldn't make it there, hit the outside. And I thought he would fly out, need to respawn, but he doesn't. He stays in 5th position, so wow. What a mistake by him, but he still keeps it alive. Now Corbo with Regenhertz and Tsunami trying to close in on Dolan, who is cruising here. So Dolan, I think for the first time tonight, being quite comfortable here in the lead. Let's see if he can keep it up for a little longer at least. That's looking good as we see Corbo crashing away from 2nd place. Very big mistake by him. Doesn't need to reset, but he will lose a lot of places.
Wait,
Will be
if Noth is in
overtaken.
2nd place, where is Regenhertz? What is going on?
Regenhertz is in 2nd place. Dolan is in 1st. And Noth is actually in 4th.
Curious.
Yeah.
I would have sort of thought that this was a very obvious map for Regenhertz, but maybe I just didn't quite get how it was going to unfold.
Yeah, Dolan is
Anyway.
looking really good here. Defending 1st place.
Yeah, it would be a crying shame if we finish this endurance without Dolan showing his many talents, I feel.
Yeah, very true. So how is it going with the pace car comeback here? 8th position we see.
I think I'm about to set the fastest lap of the race by some margin.
There we go. 44.44. That is some margin indeed. Better than some Div 1, Div 2 players. Good stuff.
I didn't say I was about to give up easily. But yeah, it'll take me some focus to continue doing this, so feel free to continue with the cast.
Yeah, we'll continue to spectate the field throughout. Let's see if there's...
You might not want to spectate me again, because the last time that happened, you already know.
We will stay far, far away, I promise. Alright.
That would be... didn't help. Anyway, it's fine. Just a small touch this time, so nothing out of the ordinary, but...
Alright.
I guess even mentioning me now, the audio curse.
Audio curse. New emote is needed.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
How am I sixth? What happened? Fifth? What happened at the front?
Yeah,
Seriously, what sort of
Dolan is
massacre
falling
just took
away.
place?
I don't know what he did. Regenhurst took first place, not super close behind, but the rest of the field, a lot of mistakes were made. Dolan now in 6th place, Corbo in 4th, Tsunami 2.5 seconds behind Not and Regenhurst, who are super close right now. Very nice fight for first place here. Let's stay here for a bit. Let's see how this unfolds. Both Not and Regenhurst are showing very good pace, as we can see. Close to top 1 times here, so looking good. Coming up to...
Well, I guess I am the pace car, just not in the position that I expected I would be the pace car.
yeah, that's
This is a
interesting.
bit, this is a bit, as we would say, unfortunate. But I guess comeback train is on if anyone can keep up with me. I guess. I mean,
Yeah, let's
comeback,
see.
retaining these positions because I think the podium is sealed. Can TMNF give me a chance to play the game, man?
Oh no. Ay, 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 ay. It doesn't give Not the chance. Oh my god, Not is tilted. Yeah, he is done. Oh, that was so ugly. Yeah, he gives up. Alright, so Not is out.
Yeah, I would give
Oh.
up if I were him too, because I've just had, in the span of one run, I've had two absolutely mistakes from Narnia, driving in a straight line and
Yeah.
kaboom. Yeah.
Exactly the same happened to him there. That was so ugly. Ay, ay, ay,
eh,
ay, ay.
what's a man to say in these difficult circumstances? Actually, he has another match. Man is multitasking out
Oh
the
my days.
absolute wall.
Yeah.
The devil says it's not only him. Well played.
No.
The two of us managed to somehow miss the finish line, so safe to say both of us might have some awareness on what it's like to incidents.
Wow. That was ugly.
Yeah, that was one of the funniest things I've seen in my life, actually. Both
All
of these
right.
incidents were just so perfect.
Yeah. That was insane. What you said last time was really interesting. We'll see. And now
What
Reagan
specifically
Hurts
focus?
makes yeah, the gap
What
happen
wanted
again.
TMNF now don't want it anymore. Well, yes, that sort of tends to happen when you get sent to Narnia while driving in a straight line. That is the kind of incident that typically tilts people off the planet. Now, I'm not suggesting that this might have happened to Noff or something like that, but that might be exactly what I'm suggesting. You know?
It was. But I think, of course, this has been happening for, I don't know, since the beginning. But right now, I think BFNL in the community had quite some attention. A lot of people participating. And it is now that some players also see, like, okay, if we want to drive a competitive tournament with a lot of players, then this might not work. So,
Uh, that sentiment survives only a week. I've never heard it vocalized by as many people as I have in these 6 weeks, which I think is
yeah.
it's an interesting thing to note. Like, I've genuinely never heard this amount of players all clamoring or disappointed in the game itself. Be it because of server issues or because of actual in-game issues, but the amount of frustration actually caused in the span of 6 weeks was, I think, quite astonishing, especially. Like, you know, watching Mew in chat, having a perfectly stable internet connection, unable to play, and then when he finally joined, being told he had to leave the Division 1 match because it was already underway as a 3v3 is just... How are you supposed to feel? You were
Yeah, that was ugly.
pumped, ready to play, and you're told, well, time to go. And these server issues are new. I just don't think that they'll be temporary, is something I'm suggesting. Jokes aside, though, as we enter the end of this map, I just want to say, like, to drive this map, it is an incredibly pleasant map to drive. I do agree. I would have loved to see it closer to the beginning. I think it is just really well done. Problem is really, well, external conditions, I think.
Yeah.
I would really love to see a port of this map to the other games because this is just straight up enjoyable to hunt. Like almost all of the corners flow together seamlessly. The map is almost perfectly suited to withstand high speeds. You know, it doesn't break when you start having a wonderful lap. It just flows even better, and that's I think a mark very few mappers can actually hit. So very happy, obviously, with Vamos's mapping, and yeah, Liquid Ritual is clearly a very successful one. Maybe it's a prayer for luck or
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
a very nice map indeed. Nice cruises going on here. Let's see if there are some close fights going on throughout the field. Seems like
Yeah, I
Gigasun
know a lot
against
of
Mr.
maps were.
Sweeto.
So
Hmm.
they are mentioned that obviously a lot of maps were ported on the NASCAR Planet server in Team 2.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Obviously, NASCAR Planet is one of the channels on Team 2, so you can actually play it with a lot of players actually at multiple times per day because it is a part of the weekly rotation. So essentially, everyone playing Team 2 flocks to these channels to play and
Yeah, good stuff.
stuff indeed.
All
Uh,
right.
and I think also the server is very well intended for hunters because it has this weird bug where you can press the replay button, not pay, just stay on the yes no dialogue whether you want to pay. Server will restart anyway. You can just click no and get a restart for 0 planets.
That is good.
As Reagan finishes, it is the third overall time again, so
Wow.
astonishing, just
That
an
is
astonishing
amazing.
level of. It is an astonishing level of performance from her when you really think about it, and
Yeah.
I think well exceeding expectations maybe before the cup. Tsunami, however, also with a 7th overall finish, so
It's
it
not the
is
first time
really
as well tonight.
yeah. So it needs to be said that it's just a high level of performance displayed from Tsunami and Regenhurt specifically, and not some sort of weird miracle. So we've seen some really good times tonight, and we saw also Korba and Gigasan in the top 10 on other maps as well. So clearly,
Yeah.
we saw some very, very good times at the very top of the ladder in this particular match, which I feel does need to be applauded. Um, I feel like a lot of players should be very proud of what they done.
Yeah, very nice.
Gigasan and Dolan unfortunately finishing out of out of any serious contention. Despite having exceptional times, I did my fastest lap, and I don't care about anything else, honestly, after that sort of
Yeah,
bug.
that's good.
We're about, done with BFNL now, so
Yeah,
that's just the end of it. So we
that
no
was
longer
it.
have any competition remaining, and we can just take a look maybe at the final results and obviously take a look at the teammate challenge and other similar things.
Yeah, we'll go over
Nope.
that
Is it?
surely.
Oh,
Master's
Masters.
still
Oh,
drawing. Yeah,
forgive
yeah,
me,
yeah, 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 yeah.
forgive me. I would, I would
He
never
is here.
suggest anything.
We'll wait until he closes out his lap here.
That he did, and he made it to the finish line on every single map, and I think, especially on the 7-minute map, that is very
Yeah,
commendable. Actually, he
very
still got
nice.
one more lap to drive, I believe. Yes,
Yeah,
focus, very observant in chat. Always love having very observant viewers to
very
correct
nice.
the streamers. Unfortunately, most of the players are leaving
Yeah,
before waiting for him to finish, which is very rude of them, actually.
yeah, that is very
But
true.
maybe they come to the stream and maybe they're gonna they're gonna hear us talking a bit of smack. But I think the results should be saved, right? There should be
I think so.
no, but Bellman, no.
Oh, I need to check the stream.
Just tab.
Eh?
It's there. Like the standings are the same on tab. You don't need to. It's chill, man.
It's
Chill.
okay. No need to
Anyway,
check any stream.
we're just going to quickly screenshot it then, just so the admins don't actually lose track of any standings. STM Master will arrive at the finish line, 90 checkpoints, and that is the end of BFNL 2022.